Whoa, what a windy evening. You can just see the Peak District in the distance. Probably looks a lot closer to my eyes than it does through these Bleequp Ranger glasses. So this is only my second ride in the last 12 days. Before that was a heavy block of around 6 weeks of training. Last week I went out once on my Ribble Endurance SLE. That video's on my channel. First time I rode that bike for about 5 months. That bike's going to be sold soon. I can't have 3 e-bikes. 2 of them are e-road bikes, and this one is the Specialized Turbo Vado SL. Got the range extender battery on today. Let me put the strap down. Let's keep that secure. I see lots of people forgetting to do that. So tonight, I would say that this ride is pretty much just bridging the gap between last Friday and the ride I've got planned for Friday morning in the Peak District. So this is Wednesday evening. So tonight I've got a 35-mile ride that includes, check these out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Climb Pro climbs. One of these, which is probably that, is Pim's chair. So instead of 35 miles in Cheshire countryside, I'm going to be doing about 3,000 feet of climbing. Should we go? So the week before last, I stayed in the Peak District, met my family. I rode my Scott Addict RCE ride into 35-mile-per-hour gusts towards Castleton. That, if it weren't for the range extender, I would have struggled to have got there. Tackling them Peak District hills with gusts hitting your chest, that feels like it wants to stop you dead in your tracks. It was a proper workout anyway. Then I stayed in the Peak District for 3 nights. We did a bit of hiking. And then I rode my bike home. Again, took a bit of a scenic detour through the Cheshire countryside. So, and then the very next day I was back in work. So the week after I was just drained. So Monday to Thursday I just got jobs done around the house. Spent time with my little and family. And then on Friday evening around this time I took the Ribble out. And if you watch that video, you hear me say, the mechanical disc brakes in that bike, I can't go back. I don't know how. I used to ride that bike in the Peak District, flying down off hills. 58 miles an hour was the fastest I ever seen. Them brakes have got no stopping power whatsoever. I might as well have a bar of soap on a chain and throw that out at the back and call it an anchor. I mean, not everyone would ride the bike to that extremes, but I would certainly be mentioning to the next person who purchased the bike off me, maybe put some hydraulic hybrid brakes on, like the TRP High Road, that have a cable that pulls on the brake, but then it has a reservoir of brake fluid, mineral fluid, and acts as a hybrid between cable actuated and the hydraulic brakes. Apparently it's very good, but maybe I should have made that upgrade. I suppose in a way, for all them years I was riding the bike, I probably made allowances in my mind. In fact, I knew if I had to brake hard, to go straight down into the drops and pull the brake levers right from the ends to get more leverage. anyone that understands physics will know if you pull a lever from the very furthest point, you get more leverage, more power. But after buying my Scott Addict E-Ride with the 105 Di2 hydraulic brakes, I can't go back. I felt so unsafe. Then, pushing the bike above 16 miles an hour, I felt like I was cycling through treacle. So I don't want to get too much into that, but after 3 years of owning the bike, it's time for someone else to enjoy it. So, like I said, I'd not used it for 5 months, but every week I would switch her on, connect her to the app, and I think right in the middle of them months, I do remember half an hour ride in turbo where I dropped the power, the charge down a bit, went home and topped it up. So I discharged and recharged maybe 20% in the battery. But again, this bike, this one's not been used for a couple of months. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 6 weeks. Yeah, about 6 weeks. They all get kept indoors, but that's another problem. It's taking up too much room under my stairs. So the ribble's going. Thank you very much. Right, I'm heading towards Adlington. Join me on the start of the first climb. Okay, so I don't know if any people at home have ever rode a Turbo Vado SL, but it's the same battery and motor that's in the first generation Specialized Turbo Creo SL. And the only difference is this is probably 3 kilos heavier and probably maybe close to 5 kilos heavier than, no, maybe 4 kilos heavier than the carbon fibre S-Works. So because of that, yeah, this bike is great. Well, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's good at getting up the steep stuff because it's a mid-hub. So it's a very weak mid-hub, 35 Newton meters. But if you're reasonably fit, and you put it in the biggest cog, biggest sprocket, and spin, to get you up most things. So for me, its biggest issue is getting to the hills, because on its stock setting of 35% of the maximum power, 35% ease, compared to a Turbo Creo SL carbon model, it's not enough for this bike. It's heavy. So today, with its range extender, it's coming in around 17 kilos. So, yeah, it's an e-bike. Stick it in turbo, it will get you up steep hills, really will. But it's not very good at flats, especially in eco. So I put it up to 45-45 from 35-35, and it just offsets the extra weight. It's still not good. The fuck? Sorry about that. Lights went on green, one car went through because I think there was a learner. So, setting it at 45-45 just makes it a little bit more enjoyable. So, Pim's chair, ooh, goes all the way up to 24% incline, but what's challenging is from where I live, to get there, you got to go through Adlington here. You've got one steep hill, you can either go up Brickworks, but I'm not because the road afterwards is closed, or you can head towards Bollington. And when I go to Bollington, I'm going to go up Blaze Hill. It's a good 2.5 miles of the steep stuff. It's a steep, challenging climb, and it's long. So, after that, I can't remember the name of the climb after that. It's something Pike. And that's challenging. And this is before you even get to Pim's Chair. I remember you've got a bit of a fast downhill. You will see it all. You've got a bit of a fast downhill. Before you get to the church, which is the start, you've got another climb. So, for my neck of the woods, you're carrying fatigue into the climb. So, even though this is only a 35-mile ride, I've actually brought a couple of gels with me. Help get me up. I've had a bit of a weird day food-wise. I ate really well yesterday, so today I only had fruit and yogurt. It was around 11:30. A couple of little snacks. And then around 5 o'clock, I just had the sausage sandwich. Good quality sausages on sourdough, on white sourdough. Top up my glycogen before heading out. Right, start of the first climb. So it's a bit of a drag. So we're on the climb now. And I can see what Climb Pro's done. It looks like it's incorporated Blaze Hill into the first climb and made it one long one. So I'll put you back on when things get interesting. Wow, it's so windy. Wow. This is where you can boost your average speed back up after climbing. That's why a lot of the time when you come back from the Peak District, your average speed can be pretty decent. Because for every hill you go up, there's another hill you blast down. And as long as you can go up them at an okay pace, you can go home with your average speed, sometimes faster than a flat route of the same distance. So windy. You heard me probably say that more and more on this ride. So, by my estimations, I should have a tailwind all the way home. How nice is that after climbing some of the Peak District's gnarliest climbs? I've got absolutely loads of power in the batteries, because the vast majority of this ride I've been in eco, as I am now. The only thing is, in this area, there can be some climbs that to look at them don't look like much, and they could be 2-3 miles long, 2-3%. On this bike, eco's just not quite enough, so I stick it in level 2. But level 2, I've got the maximum power 85%, but I turn the ease down to 50, which means the bike only gives me 85% of the maximum torque if I put out effort through the pedals. So it might only give me 100 watts assistance if I'm only putting out 180 watts myself. But then if I push harder, so I put in level 2 now, doesn't feel any different to level 1, but as soon as I put down a bit more oomph, instantly I get more power back. That's because I've raised the peak power. I mean, I could do the same for eco. I'll try that one day. I might put peak power at 50, but turn the ease down to 30. That way, if you're struggling into a headwind, if you put down a little bit more power, the bike will give you a bit more back. Might be a better way of doing it. It's nice when you carry enough momentum into a climb that by the time the motor kicks in, you've already crested. I'm at the start of the Blaze Hill here. So if you look on my channel, you will see a video called Pim's Chair Finally Defeated. That's because I went up a couple of years before that on my Ribble and I had to get off and push, and it weren't for anything to do with lack of fitness, lack of strength. It was a lack of gears to get up 24%. And this is the same bike that I went up last year. Now the only difference is, if you look here, I've now got Ride Now gravel TPU tubes, and instead of a 750ml high five, your cheap bottles, this is the world's lightest bottle that the Peloton use, the Elite Fly Tech ultralight sport bottle, 550ml. So between these TPU tubes and this bottle compared to last year, I'm around 600 grams lighter. Let's see if it gets me up. I'm not going on Climb Pro. I want to see my power. So I'm putting out 240 watts. I'm in my easiest gear. I'm just taking my time because Pim's Chair is a lot steeper than this. I think this is the worst of it, this hill. So Blaze Hill, I've just done the worst part. I will knock it down to level 2 now. Let the motor cool down if it needs it, because it flattens off here. I think it goes back uphill a little bit here, but I'm sure there's another flat bit. In fact, I think there's a downhill. $500 watts seated then. Here we go. Aye, aye, aye. Keep an eye on the sunlight. As long as I'm off the Peak District and on the roads with street lights on the way home before it's dark, I'm happy. I've got plenty of lights on the bike. 2 at the front, 2 at the rear, and 1 on the back of my helmet. I think I run 2 lights front and back on all my bikes. The rear light on this, I've had for about 7 years, the Bontrager Ion Flare. Well, that light has a light sensor, so when it goes dark, it will go from that super strobe daytime flash mode to more of a pulsing night flash, all automatic. The front light from that set is on my Ribble, but unfortunately, especially on colder days, doesn't last a 50-mile ride anymore on daytime flash. So what I was doing was, I've got a tiny, it's like a flash drive power bank. It's got a short little USB micro cable. I was taking that to the cafe with me, having a coffee, taking my front light off and topping it up. Well, that little power bank probably weighs about 40-50 grams max. In fact, I might weigh it when I get back, but it's enough. It's enough to fully charge my front light back up. But to be honest, I've found, even on a 60-mile ride, that a 30-minute cafe stop for a coffee, that 30 minutes top up of the battery, then my light lasts the whole duration home. But one thing I always noticed with that one light, especially that Bontrager front light, even on the rear, absolutely super affected by temperatures. Even when I first bought it, on a cold day you'd get about 50% the amount of stated hours. Right now it's going to shoot up, so now into turbo, into my biggest gear and spin. So we went up to the top of Blaze Hill, crossed over the big main road that goes to Reno, and now this is the climb before the climb before the climb. So it's another double-digit climb. I'm currently in level 2 assist. Can you see the wall? Can you see it coming up? I certainly can. this looks flat, it's actually 7%. So I'm gonna have to shoot this up to level 3 any second now. And I think I've got one more gear to go. So gear and gear, and just stay seated. Wait a minute. It's hard for you guys to see this, but Manchester City Centre's there. Manchester Airport's in the distance there. I can see Alderley Edge below the skyline. So last week I rode the Ribble with the Marler X35 motor. This is the Specialized SL 1.1 motor. Not so industry secret that motor is also manufactured by Marler. And then in 2 days' time I'll be riding my Scott Addict, which has the Marler X20 motor, and mine's the updated 65 Newton meter. And from riding the other 2 bikes recently and jumping on this today, without a doubt, the Marler X20 update, 275 watt, 65 Newton meter. It's the best climbing motor that I've got. Although today, this is also battling horrendous headwinds, very similar to the day I went to Castleton. In fact, I checked the weather before I set off this evening and it says gusts up to 36 miles per hour. And I've certainly felt a good few close to that. I've got another wall here. So I think up this one, I'm going to go out of saddle. So I'm out of saddle now. Super windy, my knees are freezing. A couple of times today I've gone to my biggest gear, which is a 40 tooth cog with a 44 in the front, and I've mistakenly gone to change gear again, hoping for another gear that's not there. But when this bike gets a new group set, 12 speed, I'm either gonna get, there's Pimshe, wow, I'm either gonna get 1146 with tighter ratios for a more road bike feel, or an 1150. But compared to this bike, both cassettes both are very similar ratios in the middle of the cassette. So I've got a little bit to consider there. I mean, if I can get 24% out of the saddle, by the way, up Pim's chair previously, if I go from 1142 to 1146, I think that would get me up anything. I think something like 1150 on this would probably be more like Hard Knocks Pass, Bamford Clough. But I'm not taking this bike up then. I'm more at home on a road bike. I'd rather put an 1136 on my Shimano 105 Di2 instead of the 1134 I currently got. My word, the headwind I'm going into is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Wow, that was a pothole. So I'm starting to lose the light. It's very similar sort of conditions to last year's. Maybe a smidge darker. Can you see this, people? That is the evil climb I'm about to go up. Pure evilness. I see you at the start. Okay. Let's get up Pim's chair tonight, people. So I stopped, had a gel, had a mini Snickers, said a prayer. You see, it's evil before you even start. This is not even Pim's chair. So in a minute, this road turns right at the chapel, and that's the start. But I'm gonna go into it to climbing this with my heart rate already up. My legs are already burning. .7 miles, so it's already in double digits. So my plan is to stay seated for the most part, and when I hit the gnarliest stuff, I'm saving the big watts. It's in double digits and it's about to go steeper very quickly. about 17% that. We're at 16% here. Let me just show you, won't be a sec. It's one steep mother. Right, let's go. It's a horrible climb, horrible climb. Out of saddle now. And down. So yeah, max is out at 24% this. Wow, I'm getting headwind right from there. So imagine going up, what am I going up here? Straight into a headwind. Big bird of prey then. And the corner. My word, oh, it's over 20%. Sure, wow, that was steep. We're still at 14%. I had my Pathfinder Pro tyres then, lose grip in the back wheel. Car coming. Straight into this big headwind. I think it's the headwind more than the incline now. The wind's coming right off the top of that ridge, straight into my mush. not stopping. My lungs are on fire. Getting up that hill then, that headwind, the headwind was going straight down my throat because I was gasping for air. My chest is so hoarse. Whoa. Roadkill. The headwind coming into my face climb up that hill was worse than going 50 miles an hour downhill. Because my mouth was open, trying to suck in oxygen. If I was doing 5 miles an hour, the wind was doing 35, that's 40 miles an hour cold wind straight down my throat. It made me feel like I was going to have an asthma attack. I'm getting buffeted there from the right, so I'm using my knee on the frame to give the frame a bit more stability. So if you're going downhill and you've got a crosswind, put your opposite knee in, or you can put your other knee out. And both of them will just help stabilise the frame. We're going to go past wind gather rocks now. My word, man. I feel like I'm cycling in winter again. My hands are freezing. Temperature are we on? 5.2. Jesus. I didn't realise it was that cold. 5.2 degrees C, no wonder I'm cold. It's a long, draggy climb going back the other way. If you want to go to the Goit Valley on a bike and you don't want to do Pim's Share, this descent I'm doing now, it's nowhere near as steep, but it's about 3-4 times as long. My word, this is a big heavy bike and even this is getting buffeted around. Even my toes are cold. I feel like I need my winter gloves. They're heated, by the way. And my winter socks, also heated. This is going to be quick because this is the Brickworks climb. Going down it. Got a couple of little climbs to go now. I'm about to go up the back end of Brickworks and down towards Potts Wrigley. Electrolytes, my word, wow. My drink, if it got any colder it'd have ice cubes in. That's how cold it is in these Peak District Hills tonight in April. Right, let's go. I think another out of saddle sprint is overdue. Right, let's go. God knows. I think I did 600 watts for about 10 seconds. I'll have a look when I get home. Aye, aye, aye. That's what I'm out for. Fitness. I feel like I've got a mixture of fresh muscles from the rest and a bit of ring rust, whatever you call it. So in the past, I always noticed if you ride twice in the week, I always rode better than the second one. It's like your muscles have been reawakened on the first ride. So tonight, I think instead of a shower, with a hot bath, and then stretch the muscles and rest. Do what I need to do tomorrow, and then prepare for my next ride the next morning. This is going to be quick because this is the Brickworks climb. Going down it. In the light quick. God knows how quick I'm going. Definitely 30 miles an hour plus. Oh yeah, just seen it. 31 miles an hour. Right, I need to stop. You see my Garmin? Right, so my Garmin's just on one of them twist mounts. Absolute rubbish. My Scott Addicts has got the proper out front mount. So you could go 100 miles an hour and it's going nowhere. But on this, once the wind hits it, I think on my Scott Addict, I might get the out front mount that connects to the stem bolts. So it's integrated then into my bars, and then my own out front mount I could put on this. And I'm hoping as well later this year, this is the Edge Explorer 2. The first one came out in 2018. This one came out in 2022. So if that cadence continues, this year being 2026, I'm hoping the Edge Explorer 3 comes out, which would mean this one can stay on this bike. One thing about these Zeiss lens, I'm really losing the light, but even lifting up my glasses, there's not a lot of difference in what I can see. So once I mean, these are unlit lanes. Once I get back onto roads with street lights, I can cycle with these glasses on, no problem. And I finally got them strong headwinds are now pushing me along. I'm actually doing 25.5 miles. Wait, sorry, that sounded miles. I'm doing 19 miles an hour. 25 miles an hour. Only a couple of miles away from home now, 32.5 miles in. With this only being my second ride in 12 days since my heavy week, I'm literally classing this ride tonight as a bridge between last Friday's ride on the Ribble and Friday's Big Peak District ride. Got some serious hills in today, but I'll be facing no such 24% on Friday's ride. They're more sustained climbs like Cat and Fiddle Road. So although I will go home with over 4,000 feet of climbing that day, the climbing's done over much longer durations and much shallower gradients, luckily. And on a bike like the Scott Addict e-ride, the bike's already an absolute weapon without assistance. But with these Ride Now TPUs, I'm flying along here at 17 miles an hour because I've got no headwind. So it might be a heavy hybrid bike with a range extender, blah, 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 but once I get this bike up to 16 miles an hour, with just a bit of sustained effort, I can maintain 18 miles an hour comfortably, especially when I'm 30 odd miles into a ride, because I'm in my zone now. I can put down more sustained power now than I can do in my first 5 or 6 miles, even with all them hills and 30 odd miles on my legs. I'm in the zone now. If someone fresh on a bike now offered me a race on a similar bike, they'd have no chance, because my muscles are warm now. Just a little bit of power, straight away, 18.5 miles an hour. You fucking moron. What an absolute tool, and I couldn't even get the license plate or anything. Blooming, that's what you've got to put up with. How can you not see a bike with 5 lights on?